Eta utya ushasach ketum akrata. This is Jagati. Purve ardhe, so Jagati 12 syllabic, yes, iambic meter. Eta utya ushasach ketum akrata, 12, very long, the longest one. Very popular in the Rigveda. Purve ardhe rajaso bhanu manjate. Nishkranvana ayudhaniva dharshnavach pratigavo arushihyanti matarach. Lo, these are those dawns that create for us the perception, ketumakrata. In the highest realm of the luminous kingdom, they brighten the light. In the highest realm of the luminous kingdom, they brighten the light. We will come to it. Perfecting it like violent men who furbish their arms. The ruddy mothers come, the radiant herds. So my interpretation was different because I didn't see his interpretation, but close to it. These are those dawns who create the sight, the perception, ketum. They paint it with light in the eastern half of space, painted like with the oil paint, yeah? Revealing themselves. As the fighters, they draw their swords, shining blades, golden red beams of light are approaching, fronting us in the darkness, as the mothers shaping all into visible forms. This is very typical to compare with Ayudhaniva, Dharishnavar, the same with Maruts, the same with dawns. The light is compared to the blades, shining blades, which are piercing the darkness. Yeah, and they are like the soldiers, the armies with those, blades piercing the darkness. It's interesting vision. It's not just the beautiful, illumination and that's it. That's also has a power in it and breaks through the darkness, changes it. We read this already, so I will not stop here. We'll go to the next. Udapaptan Aruna Bhana Vovritha Suayujo Arushika Ayukshata Akran Ushaso Vayunani Purvatha Rushantam Bhanam Arushich Ashishrayu. Upward have soared the red active lusters, covering heaven. Yoked are the ruddy rays that set themselves perfectly to the work of the sacrifice, the work of changing darkness into light. The dawns have made the manifestations of things even as before, and their ruddinesses have entered into the reddening light. Interesting. So, light entering into the light. Suddenly, the golden red beams, lights flew up. They yoked and brought with them the red rays of growing knowledge. Easy to yoke, to connect with. Sva, su ayujach. Yes, that is how I translate. Sri Aurobindo says, yoked are the ready rays, simply yoked. And I'm easy to yoke or to connect with. The dawns created the paths as from before. Dark red at the beginning, they become shining, diffusing the bright light. Sri Aurobindo has more interesting. He says, the dawns have made the manifestations of things even as before, and their ruddinesses have entered into the reddening light. So there is this kind of the hues of light are brightening and brightening. Yes. The one layers of light accommodate the brighter layers of light into them, and everything, all these hues, levels of light grow brighter and brighter. Archanti narich, apaso na vishtibhich, samanena yojanena paravatach, isham vahantich sukrite sudanave. Vishvet aha yajamanaya sunvate. And this one is interesting. For as forces that work the bright energies, as forces that work the bright energies give their illumination by entering into all things with an equal self-yoking from the supreme realm. Quite like an image. For as forces that work the bright energies give their illumination by entering into all things with an equal self-yoking from the supreme realm. And thence they bring energy to the right doer, the right giver, who perfectly effects his aims. Yea, all things here they bring to the sacrificer, who expresses the Soma bliss. These are the translations which were never published officially, and Sri Aurobindo most probably would review them. These are his notes, which were published later. And it is interesting for us even more so that how he perceived this, especially that not so much. Usually we translate Sunvate Sunvan, the one who presses Soma, to Yajamana who presses Soma. But he says that sacrificer who expresses Soma bliss, not pressing Soma bliss, pressing out, distilling and purifying and then offering to the gods, but the one who expresses this bliss. I just modified my translation with this. The ladies, the soul powers, shine by singing Archantinarich. Shining and singing, flaming word, Archanti, flaming in the word, these soul powers, Narich. Sri Aurobindo translates Nara as soul power, heroic soul powers of man. So ladies, most probably those Shaktis of those soul powers of man shine by singing or singingly shine, or flaming in this expression of the word, as if running, playing, streaming waters, apasana. They enter, multiply, multiply, and alternatingly, these are words I made up, vishtibich. You see, Sri Aurobindo translates vishtibich differently than everybody else. You remember we were stuck with this word because what is given in the dictionary is changing alternatively by turns and so on. They do not know what vishtibich is, truly speaking. So what he does, he translates it as by entering into all things with an equal self-yearning, samanena yojanayana. So vishtibich from root vish, to enter. Vishta is entered, actually. Vishti, most probably entering, by enterings. So by entering into all things, by multiple enterings, these energies, flaming. And it's a very unique translation. Sri Aurobindo translates Vishtibhik Samanena Yojanana as by entering into all things with an equal self-yoking. So I kind of modified it. They enter multiply Vishtibhik many times or into many things who have a common origin from the beyond Paravatach. Para is always beyond, transcendental, Paravatach from the beyond. They bring the refreshing impulse and indeed all other gifts to man who is a perfect doer perfect sacrificer who gives himself, surrendering to light, to Yajamana, soul within, who expresses Soma. And this was for me a surprise. For the first time I see this, expressing Soma bliss. So Sri Aurobindo translates Yajamanaya Sunvate as to the sacrificer, who expresses the Soma bliss. When Yajamana expresses, so to say, experiences or feels the bliss of existence through his sacrificial action, then the dawns bring to him the energy of refreshing impulsion. There is some kind of mysterious connection between the two. To experience Soma bliss by natural sacrifice, by natural self-giving or giving oneself to the divine, the bliss is the outcome, yes. And when that is happening, then the dawns the divine grace, with her energies coming and bringing to us this refreshment of our own perception of ourselves and the world. There is something happening. There is some kind of transformative action is taking place with this refreshment. Isham Bahantich. This Isham Bahantich bringing this impulsion to move forward, to move even farther on the way towards the divine manifestation. These are the 3 verses we read last time, so I kind of briefly touched them with Sri Aurobindo's translation. We see such a huge difference. We tried also to come to this meaning, but without his translation it was quite difficult, especially with this Vishtibhich, which is misunderstood. So first time I translated as women active in their tasks. You remember all this. I followed the ordinary translation. But now I changed it. Running, playing, streams, streaming waters, like streaming waters apasach. Na, they enter multiply, vishtibhich, who have a common origin. So these streams of consciousness, there are 7 rivers, yes, who descend upon us. 3 of these great rivers, Ila, Saraswati, Mahi, these are the streams. These are the actions of higher consciousness, and they multiply in many ways, enter into many things at once. Who have common source. They have common source, but they distribute their action over the many things. And by that, they bring the refreshing impulse and all of the gifts to man who is a perfect doer, perfect sacrificer, who feels or expresses or experiences the divine bliss by his action. So this divine bliss, to experience the divine bliss by sacrifice, is the indication of the sacrifice being done in the right way. If the bliss is not there, if sacrifice is causing only pain and suffering, that must be something wrong with self-giving. And he started to giggle happily. And now we come to number 4, which we didn't read. Adhi peshan si vapate narituch iva apornote vaksha usreva barjaham. Are we shifting to Trishtup? Jyotir Vishwasmai Bhuvanaya Kranvati Gavona Vrajam Vi Usha Avar Tamach. Like the dancing girl, she lays bare her clear forms of beauty. like a paramour, like a lady who brings the delight. She opens her breast, casting aside its defenses, creating light for the whole world. This is Sri Aurobindo's translation. The radiant herds have left their pen. Dawn has uncovered herself of her robe of darkness. She puts on, literally, actually, adhivapate. In the dictionary, I was following this. Sri Aurobindo says puts off, kind of. She lays bare her clear forms of beauty. So to say, she uncovers, but she puts on the beautiful garments as a dancer, opens her breast as a cow, the udder full of milk. By the way, it is actually literally usra iva, as a cow, barjaham, the vaksha, the breast she opens. The udder and the breast of the woman are constantly compared in the Veda, because those others they are full of milk, full of this enjoyment and sustenance and knowledge. Milk is a symbol of knowledge, making light for the whole world to see. Jyotir Vishwasmai Bhuvanaya Karunvati. The dawn opens the darkness, as if the confinements for cows to move out. So those cows are hidden in the pan, and in the morning they open the pan, and all the cows come to the dawn, with the light. So this is the imagery was used, and the cows are the rays of light. They are the symbol of the rays of light. And Vrajam is this confinement, is the darkness. So the light is concealed into the darkness, and the darkness is opened up by her, and the rays of light are released. Sri Aurobindo translates, dawn has uncovered herself of her robe of darkness. The radiant herds have left their pen. So beautiful. This imagery implies that the cows, or the rays of the dawn, are confined and hidden deep within the darkness, as if they are arriving from the beyond of our darkened state of consciousness, and have to be released and made available for all to see, being revealed on the surface of our consciousness. I remembered this from Savitri, the last passage in Savitri. Night splendid, with the moon dreaming in heaven, in silver peace possessed her luminous reign. She brooded through her stillness on a thought, deep guarded by her mystic folds of light, and in her bosom nursed a greater dawn. So the greater dawn is hidden in the bosom of the night and has to be revealed. This comparison to the dancing lady is constant with dawn. She always makes her body visible, her beauty is visible without defenses, casting aside its defenses. So beautiful. There is no shame in her beauty. There is just this shining beauty. She is not hiding it anymore. Darkness is removed. All right, number 5. Pratyarchi rushad asya adarshi. Vitishthate badhate krishnam abhavam. Svarum napesho vidathesho anjan. Chitram divo duhita bhanumashret. Reddening, the illumination of her has appeared in front. It spreads and assails the black dance. They adorn her body as if sunshine in the things of the knowledge. The daughter of heaven has entered into the varied luster. It's a complex thing here. Her flaming brightness has appeared, removing and destroying black non-being or abyss, abhavam. Abhavam is used constantly in the Veda as an abyss or darkness, non-being. Krishna Abhavam, dark abyss, or black even abyss. As an architect adorning the light of Svar, I am translating Peshach as an architect because in the dictionary it's given, or it can be Peshach as the decoration, either or. So Svarum na Peshach, as an architect or the creator, she establishes the Svarup. This Svarum is the sacrificial post or the pillar of light or the Svar world. Sri Aurobindo translates it as the varied luster. Adorn her body as if sunshine in the things of the knowledge. So this, it's interesting how he puts it. But Svar, we know Svar, and Svaru most probably from Svar. And Svar world is the world of the ray of the sun, of the overmind. So, as an architect, Peshach, adorning the light of Svar, a pillar of light, at the sacrificial gatherings, Vidatheshu, Anjan, seeking for knowledge, Vidatheshu, in the things of knowledge, Rabindra translates, the daughter of heaven, Divoduhita, got into the bright and many-colored light. So this Chitram Bhanam Ashret can be translated as assumed or glorified the varied light of the overmind, and thus becoming Prishni. I'm kind of making this allusion. Prishni is the mother of the overmind. Prishni cow, the mother of the overmental consciousness, known also as Maya. It's interesting that Maya, the creatrix of all forms in manifestation. So what is said here is very interesting. Chitram divah duhita bhanum ashret. She inhabited or assumed onto herself, this light bhanum, varied chitram of different colors, as if of a mental light she dressed up onto herself. She put on this overmental light onto herself. In other words, she is not from the overmind. She enters from elsewhere and takes the overmental light onto herself. You remember previously there was also this allusion about her entering, her reddenings entered into the ruddiness of that light. So light entering the light, making it bright and brighter. So in that sense, I think this is the idea. She, the transcendental mother Aditi, enters into our space, into our creation, and becomes Prishni, the mother of the overmind, Maya, the creatrix of all forms. And Sri Aurobindo actually gives this indication here. Daughter of heaven has entered into the varied luster. And notice luster with capital L. I think he just didn't go so far as I did, kind of trying to justify this Chitram Bhanam Ashret, entered into, he puts. I just didn't dare to translate Shri as entered into, more glorified the varied light, or assumed the form of the varied light by herself. because Ruchri is to actually... Let us look how Griffith translates. It's interesting. We have beheld the brightness of her shining. This is how it translates passive. Adarshi, she became visible. It spreads and drives away the dark. What is this? Monster. Something happened here. Like tints the deck, the post, and sacrifices, heaven's daughter has attained her wondrous splendor. Okay, he doesn't go into this. Has attained her wondrous splendor. It's amazing. The language is so ancient and the symbols are so loaded that sometimes, if you read translations of other Indologists, you will be surprised how they kind of come out from this difficulty to assume the varied light. How she could assume she is the light. She again enters into the varied lust. Interesting. She is the supramental light, transcendental light even, Aditi, infinite light of consciousness. And she enters into the varied luster, into this overmental realm of light.
Vladimir, I have a question, please.
Yes.
This Maya is sort of raising a question in my mind. She's also the mother known as Maya. So is she coming with her light to spread the illusion in the world also?
Not illusion. Create the forms. Why illusion? Illusion is the translation of the much later time, closer to us.
Okay. I just didn't understand this.
Maya is the creatrix of all the forms in manifestation. That's why I add the whole sentence, the creatrix of all the forms in manifestation, just to justify the usage of word Maya. In the Veda, Maya is never an illusion, never. It's the mother, the force, the power, which enters into the darkness. That's why she is vitishtate badhate Krishna Mabhavam. She's pushing away, she's destroying the black abyss. And because of her entry into this darkness, yeah, when the supermind, the supramental light, meets the infinite darkness, they create this realm of overmind, yes? So the rays of light, the realm of the rays of light, the body of the sun enters into the darkness, and it is known in the darkness as rays because it cannot bodily totally remove the darkness, but with its light it penetrates it with the rays. And this is of a mental realm. So when she comes with that light and moves away the darkness or penetrates the darkness, vitishtate, then she assumes or enters into the varied luster.
No.
Becomes the Prishni mother of the overmind.
Thank you for clearing that.
It's actually absolutely fitting with Sri Aurobindo's vision of what is overmind, what is supermind, what is really happening between these two, supermind and overmind. Here's something with Griffith I have to repair. I didn't read his translations. I add it for your sake that you can compare always with the Sri Aurobindo's and my interpretation. Also put many words for you to see what it means. Prishni, interesting. Variegated, dappled. Yeah, dappled cows or other, but mainly cow. So Prishni is, there are three mothers, yes? There is Aditi, We usually speak about Aditi and Diti. Aditi is transcendental mother, the mother of Satchitananda and Vijnana. And then there is mother of Diti, yes, her twin sister of separative consciousness here in the lower hemisphere. But we never speak about that transition from the light to the darkness. There is one more mother, and that is Prishni. And she is mentioned once in a while. She is also the mother of the Maruts, Prishni. She is this intermediary or interaction of the light, of the body of light with the darkness. First interaction of a mental realm. And then she grows into deity, into total separative consciousness. And that transition from light to separated consciousness, we know as Maya. That transition from total truth of the divine to the divided existence in time and space. That is Maya, that creatrix which creates these separated beings.
Vladimir,
Yes.
just one question. Is it Maya, the veiled power and Shakti of the Divine Mother?
Well, it is the power of the Divine Mother, yes. Veil in what sense?
But it
Veil
is
means,
veiled, isn't it? That's why it is. We think it is an illusion. I mean,
yeah, well,
but
we
its
see
face is
her
not.
acting. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all I want to.
Yeah, we see her action. We do not see the action of Aditi because she assumed this kind of new form of the varied luster, yeah, of a mental light, and we see her only in that form. But beyond that form, there is Aditi, yes, infinite consciousness force. And in that sense, she becomes a separation, a veil to the transcendental. Yes, overmind is that which holds us back. For the longest time, Sri Aurobindo was thinking about overmind as a supermind. Actually, it also explains why it is a veil. It holds us back because it is the highest we can achieve. If you remember our scheme of 12 levels of consciousness, 12 chakras, the three upper chakras, yes, of the intuition, overmind, and supramental overmind are above the Sahasrara chakra. This is Mother's also definition. These chakras, this is the fullness of our manifestation. So to break through them to the beyond, even to the beyond these 12, is to go to the supermind, to the transcendental. And so we constantly mix these two, so supermind and overmind, overmental light, because the light in the overmind is supramental light, but it is already divided. It acts by the rays. Okay, and there is number 6. I will read this one and stop here. Atarishma tamasach param asya Usha uchanti vayunakranoti shriye chandona smayate vibhati supratika saumanasaya jigach. We have crossed over to the other side of this darkness. That is Rishi speak. We have crossed over to the other side of this darkness, and dawn widening makes her revelations of light. So she is the link to the beyond. She smiles and shines wide as joy towards beauty. She manifests in a front of fairness that the mind may be glad and perfect. I have a little different interpretation with this Saumanasaya. We have gone beyond this darkness. The dawn, by shining, creates the paths for us. Vayunani. Vayunani is usually those paths by which we proceed. As if light smiles, thus she shines widely for a glory in the manifested form. The most beautiful, literally the perfect face or front, awoke us to the supramental beauty. I translate Saumanasa as supramental. So here I kind of explain why. Saumanasa, Sumati, Sumanas, Sumnam, all these words are terms designating a perfect mind. And in the context of the Rigveda, this is the mind that is perfect, the mind that is the supermind. I just many times wonder whether Sri Aurobindo took this supermind idea, the term he coined, supermind, from Sumati, Sumanas. It's actually this perfect mind, or super mind. Even Su is good there. Supramental. Yes, Sumanas. Because the perfect mind, yes, there are three terms in the Rigveda which are connected, and they are used many times in other hymns. Pramati, Anumati, and Sumati. We spoke about this not once, most probably. Pramati, it is forward moving, yes, so to say, is thought moving forward, seeking future realizations, oriented towards the moving forward in time. Anumati is ascent or oblation for the goddess. We am taking from the dictionary. Consent also. Grace from above, answering or consenting to the movement forward of Pramati, which is rising from below like Agni. So, but Sumati is the power which actually combines them both in a perfect oneness. So the call from below and the answer from above, creating a new world of perfect mentality. It cannot be created otherwise, without the support, without the answer from above. Our call from below will not create much. Yeah? We cannot rise by ourselves. We need the answer of the grace from above, Anumati, Anumanta. Anumanta is the one Purusha who gives sanctions. Yes, that sanction has to come from above for this movement of Prakriti below. And these two, there are two powers, yes, who alone accomplish everything in this our difficult endeavor, the call from within and the answer from above. And the divine grace from above that answers. Sri Aurobindo's the work of the mother. So these are Pramati and Anumati, which are resulting in Sumati, in a perfect mentality. And it's kind of interesting that the latest writings of Sri Aurobindo are dedicated to this, to the mind of light. I think this is the beginning of that Sumati transformation, supramentalization of our mentality. And here I will stop and open to your remarks, thoughts. Go ahead. Whoever is having something to share, please do. Don't hesitate. Step in and start talking. It will come.
I was really struck with this expressed and pressed, that the pressing of the soma, the using of pressure, the focusing of, tapas right there, is also the expressing of bliss. I think that connection, the express and the press, is exactly the focus of where the psychological interpretation and the ritualistic interpretation meet. Right in that word, Sri Aurobindo has laid it all out. And I was also interested when you went on to talk about the milk, that I just happened to have seen yesterday several historical portraits of the Virgin Mary with her breasts revealed, expressing milk towards people in purgatory who are suffering. And the symbolism just sort of knocks me over, that the people in purgatory are depicted with flames around them, and that she is expressing her breast milk towards them. So this hymn today just like totally brought that into focus, what that's really about.
Wonderful, wonderful. I like your express and press, that ritualistic symbolism meets with the actually psychological interpretation of what is really happening. Yes, the expression of the delight is happening. That is the pressing of Soma. There is no other pressing of Soma. Yeah, beautiful. And milk also, and something with milk and breast in when mothers, especially mothers, feed with the milk. If you hear their experience when they breastfeed, yeah, their child, they experience this bliss. They say it's an amazing bliss. Yeah? This purity of the child, being fed by the mother's milk, and it's an ecstatic experience of some kind. Well, I do not know how it is, but I heard from the mothers. So I'm just saying it.
So I can just relate a story. Like my daughter's son is now 1 year, 4 or 5 months, and when she talks, sometimes she is feeding, and we are talking, and the child will say nothing. She will have the feed and say ooh 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 ooh. So means that he is enjoying, and also listening to our conversation. So that's a total bliss. He is enjoying both.
But mothers feel also bliss. That's what I heard from
Yes,
the mothers. Mothers feel
yes,
this.
yes, yes. That's
Mm.
all.
So it is expressing Soma after all.
This equal self-yoking, is that what do you make of that? Is it finding the right vessel? Is that kind of what it means, or what is your thoughts?
There is no preference for this or that. It comes actually in the universal sense, yes. And the gifts are actually given to the right doer of the sacrifice, yes. But
Mm,
but it is actually with commons, with kind of distribution and with common origin. The common origin, and there is impersonal
mm,
action upon the humanity. So in some way, it makes me think when somebody invokes the Divine Mother and she answers and descends, it happens not only for this person, it happens to the whole nature, the whole humanity, though we do not see this, we
yeah,
just feel in ourselves this presence. But this presence is not only for me.
right. And so this is how the your connection can be both personal and impersonal at the same time.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I think so. And
I think sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I was just saying thank you. You're good.
Yeah, no, just as you said that, that equal self-yoking, I was reminded of Swami Vivekananda used to have quotation, and I had to look it up. He says the grace is always there, right? The wind of his grace is always blowing. What you need to do is unfurl your sail. So it's interesting. Equal, right? It's always there. But I think we have to open. That was interesting.
Mm.
And Vladimir, the one thing that I was maybe just because we are reading Savitri right now, and we are on that uh, battle between night and death. I
Mm.
mean, between Yama and death and Savitri, and
Mm.
there at the end, right? I think you were also kind of mentioning some of the lines. It says like his body was eaten by light, right? And here you have this. I think Shibendo has translated. Dawn has uncovered herself of a robe of darkness, right?
Mm. It's a transformation of the consciousness in light, which fell into its opposite, darkness. Yes. So darkness reveals the true origin. Mm. What is interesting that we discussed that we cannot really proceed on this path without giving ourselves, calling to the Mother's grace. There is this um, statement by Sri Aurobindo, which I posted recently: self-surrender to the divine and infinite Mother. Self-surrender to the divine and infinite Mother, however difficult, remains our only effective means and our sole abiding refuge. There is no other way to proceed. We cannot change our life. It's not our business. Our business is to invoke and to allow her to work.
Yeah, there was a question initially, right? Like, is the divine Maya, you know, uh, also keeping us in this illusion? And I think Basuda is on. There's a very beautiful Bengali bhajan, Shakoli Tumari Icha. It's like basically saying it's all your will, right? Which we know. But I think in there is a verse that you can make a dumb fool, a great scholar, or you can make a great, Pandit, an absolute idiot, right?
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful bhajan,
This is
right?
closer to us. Yeah.
And so there is some truth in that question, right? Like, I mean, it's all her will.
Yeah, it's like Shankaracharya's Mukam Karoti Vachalam. Pangum Langayate Girim. He makes the mute one, the speaker, the orator, and the one who has no legs to jump over the hills.
Yeah, so true,
Yeah,
right?
they are beautiful. Yeah.
Go ahead.
These are the beautiful songs. So Vishal, you mentioned that is the Ram, that the Sama Sangits are there. What is called that Shakoli Tomari Icha Moi Tumi Amar, Tomar Kormo Tumi Koroma Loke Bole Ami Kori.
Mm.
So this means that it is your all wish, but it is you do, but people say that I do. So that is the Ram Prasad's he used to do. And there's a story that once Ram Prasad was fencing his garden, and he was a great bhakt of Kali, and he was fencing the garden, and he just called her daughter to just from the other side to come and just help him. And the daughter came, and he was doing for a long time. She walked, and then after, then later on he uh, came to know that that his daughter was not there. But she went into the marketplace, and it is the Kali who came and helped her. So it said that he constantly has talks and even has rapport with the Divine Mother.
That can happen only in India. Ram Prasad worshipped Kali. If you listen to the names.
I know.
Yeah. And in this, there's a, I just mentioned that there's a, in the foundations of Indian culture, in that book, Sri Aurobindo mentions about that Ram Prasad and his songs, and such a great poet. There's one chapter he writes about, a few lines.
Yeah, we have many Bengalis here, so they enjoy this. Hearing this soft, beautiful, childish language. Little childish,
Yeah, yeah.
because awe is everywhere. That awe makes it so sweet. Great. Any other thoughts? Our Bengali friends, Kinshuk, Jayashri, Martha, maybe Martha has some thoughts.
Oh, it was just so delightful. I just appreciate so much the beauty of these scriptures, this such a deep poetic interpretation, and looking at all of them together. I really appreciate that. I also have Dr. Kashyap, who's done a spiritual interpretation, of course, from Sri Aurobindo and Shastri. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, I knew Professor Kashyap very well. Yes, lived in India, visited us many times in Savitri Bhavan. We were connected because of the studies of the Rigveda, of course. Yes. Any other thoughts?
Vladimir, I had a question, an odd one. So, express and expressing, can they mean simply the perfect recitation of the hymns?
Yeah, everything which is self-expression is the word, actually. It expresses oneself. If I speak, I express myself, yes? So to say, I make it vyakarana. Yeah? I can reveal what was within to the without, to the surface consciousness, to the surface mind. This is expressing. So that delight hidden is expressed to the surface, and the surface can actually join the party of the inner realms. And so this is the way to bridge inner and outer. And the delight which is being expressed is actually the motivation for to continue also. It is not something only the result, but it is also something which makes you want to go that way. Yes? It creates the path. If the delight would not be there, the truth would be very cold and naked and heavy burden. Who would want the truth without delight? Yes.
So, the delight is in these hymns themselves.
Yes, well, of course. How else? These are the invocations which are answered actually already in some way. And that's why we receive the answer when we study these hymns. We join the invocation with Rishi together, trying to identify ourselves with that invocation, and then we feel that there is the answer. As Sayana expresses this, explains, he says, the one who knows the Vedas, who reads the Vedas and understands the meaning, and this is important, the meaning of the verses. So there is heaven and earth, mind and word, yeah, joined together. In him, all the gods are born. So if we are kind of trying to bring into experience those divine powers, to take charge of our consciousness. things. And it happens once in a while. That's why we are drawn to it. Otherwise, what are we doing here? We are reading what? We are looking for that delight which they bring. And then she will bring also this impulsion, the need to proceed, the force. Yes. Robin is deeply thinking something. Yes, Robin.
Yeah, I'm just kind of ruminating in the fact that the way creation is made is so perfect, that how everything works together for our ultimate perfection. Even the darkness is working towards our perfection, because that's what pushes us. If we didn't have that, what would we do? We'd sit in the middle of the road, and do nothing. So it's like you're saying, it's the delight is what's leading us on. It's what we yearn for, because the possibility of experiencing darkness is there. And so the way all of this works together is just so perfect. And lately I've developed more of an appreciation, even though this happens automatically, the fact that we're bringing the light into this physical world, into our physical forms. It's manifesting in us as we live, as we act, as we pursue bliss and delight in our lives. We're actually manifesting and interweaving light into the physical world. And so, again, whether we know it or not, it's happening. This process is taking place because it's a divine process, and nothing can really interfere with it, no matter what happens. It's just it's kind of hard to, wrap my head around this whole thing, but I feel the bliss of it, and I know that, like you're saying earlier, when we do the sacrifice internally, and we offer everything that we are to the divine, that then the soma, the soma and the delight can manifest in us. So that's what leads us on. And the better we do that, the more intimately do that, the more the divine manifests in us. And the gods, as you're saying, they are awakened in us through intuition, through our insights. Our mind will become illumined as we do this. So again, it's all working so perfectly. All we have to do is really apply ourselves. If we don't, like you say, if we don't ask for it, if we just, amble around and don't do much, then we don't progress. But if we do ask for it, it will happen. It will come to us. And there's no solution there's no situation that doesn't have a perfect resolution or a perfect attainment. We just have to want it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if sometimes the bigger the obstacle, the greater is the capacity given, and the greater is the outcome waiting beyond. So we should not be discouraged by obstacles, truly speaking. The opposite
I
is.
sometimes think that with Jesus and some of these great masters who suffered, really badly, in a way, the circumstance invited that on them, because that was their great challenge. That was a hurdle presented to them in their life, that if you can do this and complete this, then you can attain to the highest.
With Jesus, it was actually, you remember, he was talking to his father in the night, asking for the force to overcome this, to face the he knew already what was coming. It seems, well, Selby knows better this story, but it seems that it was kind of needed to be done for the father, for the sake of the father. So he did the sacrifice for his sake. And it wasn't easy for him to go for it, but because there is a human part also which resists. But he took that. These lashes, everything, he took everything. And he created the whole havoc. As Sri Aurobindo says, he actually changed the barbaric Europe into this, seeking the merciful, had absolutely changed the consciousness by that. The whole Europe turned towards different direction. Yeah? The whole consciousness was shifted. It's interesting that by this event it couldn't do it. By this great sacrifice. Wonderful, beautiful thoughts. Thank you, Robin. Very wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for such a lovely class.
Well, we are all happy that we have Rigveda with us and Sri Aurobindo. Yes, to look into. Great. Okay, so we close now with a minute of silence and continue next time. Thank you. Namaste.